extra, but I know I'm the same.
What's up, everybody? What is up, y'all? So we are back to talk about Zatima, y'all. I'm kind of excited to talk about this episode. I got my girl Tamika's Den in the building. What's up, boo?
Hey, yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one too. It was a lot. It seemed like all these have been a lot, except
I
for
know, girl.
maybe
They got
one.
me exactly. Got us out here being emotional and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, y'all doing too much. All right, let's see. Hey, Shari. Hey, Candy. Hey, Daria. So we got some people coming into the building. We're gonna go ahead and get started. Let's go ahead and start with the vibe check. So just kind of overall, this episode. To be honest, for me, it felt like we were just watching one big scene the whole
Mm-hmm.
time, but it still
Yeah.
had a lot packed into that one big scene. So, what was your vibe check?
Yeah, I agree. It did kind of feel like just one long theme, like, because we at this, I thought it was just like a clinic, but they kept saying hospital. But nonetheless, we know that we here worrying about Zach mama and what's going on with her and kind of dealing with that situation versus whether Fatima feels like she needs to go there, not once she finds out about it, but before she found out about it, she was over here trying to, what a friend we have in Paul.
Okay, exactly, girl. You gonna make me. I was about to start singing the hymn. What a friend. But no, seriously though, you're right about that, and I want to talk about that as well. So what I did for tonight is that because this episode felt like one big thing, I kind of broke it up into about 7 scenes. I have like 7 photos,
Uh-huh.
and I'm kind of breaking it down in the sense of everything that kind of happened in this particular area. If you may, when I pull it up, you'll kind of understand what I'm talking about. What's up,
Mm-hmm.
Denise? Thank you for joining. Hey, Renee. Hey, guys. Thank y'all for coming through. All right, so let's get into it. Let me bring these slides up. Zatima. Look like we got Zatima back, is what I can say. I know everybody a little happy about that.
Hmm.
Possibly,
Hmm.
So let's start out with this one right here. I have a question for you, Tamika. Do you think that Fatima was doing too much? Like, do you think that she's kind of crossing this line with trying to, have this friendship with Paul that she know that he doesn't want to have? Like, when is it too much to use somebody knowingly? Like, do you think she's going too far or what?
Yes, I was kind of getting irritated. It's like on the one hand, I understand, and she is making herself clear. It's not like if she's, sending mixed signals. She's being very honest about it, and he was kind of being honest about it too. Like, yeah, that's fine that you feel that way, but this is the way that I feel, and still kind of having these expectations, and I was kind of irritated with both of them. I was like, okay, Paul, now you're giving me a little bit thirsty, and I don't like thirsty, whether it's a man or a woman.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
at the same time, it was kind of frustrating. Like, girl, just take this time, for yourself. Like, don't even mix this up with you knowing how he feels about you and what his interest is in you. You keep being like, I just want this friend, but you know that he clearly wants more than just a friendship with you. He's not trying to have you put him in the friend zone. So yeah.
Exactly. That's how I was kind of feeling on this episode. I was like, I love me some Fatima, but at the same time, I was like, we're just doing a little too much. First of all, you got my boy Paul out here looking real thirsty. I've been kind of riding with Paul for a minute
Mm-hmm.
here, but he was just being hella thirsty on this one, and he just wouldn't take her answer and let it be it. Like, if
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, like, okay, I don't want to say this because you're gonna think that I'm using you. Well, we already have established that you are
Right.
using him. Like, that's not even a question at this point. We know that's exactly what it is. But why we got to keep having this same dialogue? Like, why we got to keep doing this? Like, at the end of the day, Paul is not the person you should be calling. You know what he wants. Like, just be
Right.
with yourself. Like, right now, be with yourself. Figure out what you need from you while you try to figure out what you gonna do with
Yeah.
Zach when it's all said and done. That's how I was feeling.
Yeah.
Let me know what y'all was thinking about that in the chat. Was Fatima doing too much, or were y'all okay with it, or Was Paul being extremely thirsty? Go ahead and let us know what y'all think about it. Meanwhile, while y'all tell us that, we kind of got to move on here. I mean, to be honest, that was the whole dialogue within this conversation. I didn't really learn a lot from it, to be honest. So, I didn't really learn too much from it. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. Monique said a lot of repetitive dialogue and behavior for me. Child, yes, absolutely. But let's talk about this girl right here, because this one right here, this Angela, I don't even know. Angela be hella confident. I'm said like I love her confidence. That's one thing that I love about this character is how confident she is, and she be knowing what she wants, and she just be like, shit, I'm gonna go for it, But so in this particular scene, because I think I have, let me see. I don't think I put them in here. But anyway, we know that Angela's going to have company. We know that it's old boy that Paul introduced her to, which is going to be so freaking weird when it's all said and done. Once Zach comes back into the picture, if he stays in the picture, and the fact that he's friends with Paul, that's just all sorts of messy. But whatever. But what you think of these two? Do you think this is going somewhere? Do you think this is just Angela, getting her freak out?
I mean, well, I don't really know if that's what she really wants or if she just tries to portray herself that way, but it more so comes off like she just want to have fun. She want to get her freak on. She ain't really, trying to have nothing serious. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what you want, then I would just suggest, being open and honest about that. That's how she came off to me. But he seemed like he was enjoying himself and like he would like to see her more. Of course, we know that he asked about, coming back tonight. And I was like, not coming right back tonight. Like, it looked like they had pulled her all night and it was a new day. And, she kind of was like, I don't know. But I wasn't too sure if she really felt that way or if she was just trying to play it off and not seem like she too desperate or she wanting it too much or whatever, And it was like, I'll call you and let you know about it. Like, I'll call you, don't call me. But it seemed like she just trying to enjoy herself.
Yeah, that's what's up. Girl, I don't know what's going on with my thing. I hit one thing and it's something weird. Okay. So anyway, I'm loving Angela at this point. I'm loving the fact that she just like, forget it, I'm just gonna do me. Miss Sharon said that Angela getting her freak on. Renee says that Fatima want a friendship.
Me Monique, though. That part I sometimes don't like, and we've seen this on several shows. But the whole bringing back people that I don't know like that to my house, that I was never into that one, honey. Meet me outside, okay? Meet me outside somewhere. Like,
listen, I look at too much Criminal Minds for
stuff.
For
people be wanting to be stalkers and all that other stuff.
I know that, some people feel like they should just kind of let their hair down and stuff like that. But I look at a lot of Criminal Minds, and every time I look at Criminal Minds, I'm like, ain't no way in the world I'm bringing nobody back. Not ever. That's not gonna happen.
Exactly. And even like what I think it was 2 different times that Fatima ended up coming back in. One of the times she sees him downstairs at the daggone frit, and she just was saying to Angela, like, I'm clearly not having as much fun as you, girl. And then I'm making the horse noises because I think that's how she ended up getting up and calling Paul to begin with. It was like, even with my headphones, I still hear y'all. What the hell is going on here?
That horse sound she was making, I said, what the hell? What is going on? Let's see what Shard says. She says, I appreciate I think, was that supposed to be kindness, maybe, that Fatima has displayed on screen. But under circumstances, I would think twice about calling Paul because Fatima is attracted to Paul. He's no Zach. That is true. He's really not. He's not no Zach.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all. So let's move on past old girl right here. Okay, y'all, let's talk about this first meetup. So Connie's gonna come over and let Zach know, hey, something's going on with your mom. That's kind of how this episode actually starts out. And then we're going to get to the hospital, and this is where we're gonna find out that something is going on with Miss Gladys. And then it's a whole rigmarole going on. Kind of break this down. What was happening? What your thoughts were, and who was getting on your nerves? Because I know, girl, somebody always be getting on your nerves. So who was working your nerves in this one?
Zach and his daggone brother Jeremiah was getting on my nerves, to be honest. But I don't think any of us was shocked by like his reaction, and of course Jeremiah acting a fool because he's clearly high and still trying to get higher. It was the audacity for me that he wants to, of course, sit here and blame, Zach. Of course, we gonna blame everybody but ourselves or our mother for making the choices that she clearly made. What surprised me is that I actually was not mad at Connie in this episode. I was here for Connie. I'm still not gonna be no damn team Connie, but I feel like she was handling the situation pretty good. She was actually treating them like they was two kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then we found out she have kids at home. It was like, oh really, girl? But yeah, I thought she was handling them well. She had more patience than I did, that's for sure.
Okay.
And of course, it was just another one of them sad scenes where you feel bad, and I'm kind of glad that they touching on real subjects as far as her having this fentanyl overdose. You hear about that a lot more happening in these years. I actually had somebody close to me, unfortunately, that passed away from that. So, it was just kind of like a little bit triggering a little bit, but at the same time, I was happy that they discussing real life things because we know we be having a whole bunch of other foolishness in the mix sometimes. So a little bit real life in it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I'm sorry for your loss. Fentanyl literally has been one of those hot things, one of those hot topics that has been that definitely has been real life. Like we've seen so many people having these overdoses, so many different drugs getting laced with, like, it's just been crazy. So it is nice for them to put a real dose, a literal dose of reality into this and kind of shine the light on that this is a real life situation that truly
Monique
was.
says she took a volume. I'm sorry, but that made me laugh.
Connie took a Valium. That's why she was so dealing with that. She had to take something dealing with them two. They was doing a lot. When they started fighting, I was like, I would have just sat down if I was her. I would have just been. But then she went off on them and she was like, you got all these people in here. And
exactly.
I was like, okay. So for a second, I too was like, okay, Connie, I might actually like you. Throughout the episode, I found myself having moments where I was like, girl, I can deal with you this episode right here. I don't know how I'm gonna feel, the next time we see you. But right now, yeah, I'm here with it. But I want to move to something that was said because I want to talk about Jeremiah for a second. We give Jeremiah a really, really hard time because he's trash. I mean, at the end of the day, that's what he is. He be doing the most. But I don't think I've ever really stopped to think about the fact that Jeremiah has went through it as well. You have someone who, just like Zach, has grown up in a home that is, not the best environment for anyone. Like we talked about him having a codependency with his mom, a very negative. They have a very it's very codependent, very, very codependent. But I never really stopped to think about his childhood and how it might have affected him growing up. And this is not to put a bunch of blame on the mom at all, because we know that addiction is a very serious thing, and that once it happens, it's not like people can just go be unaddicted to things. So,
absolutely.
So not doing that. But Jeremiah, at the same time, went through a lot too. How you feel about that?
Yeah, I actually was thinking about that with last week's episode. But I don't know if I said it was our discussion or if it was just in my review, but it did cross my mind when we had last week's episode with him. I was thinking like, well, they both grew up in this. They both were kind of taught and trained with certain things and saw certain things from young, but it's the opposite, reactions or the opposite turnout for them, even though they experience some of the same things. And you can see that as a manipulation that goes on between him and the mom. And then because they are both addicts, that's kind of their common denominator where they can kind of have a different type of relationship than Zach, because Zach is not into going out and getting high like them. He have his other things, right? Everybody have something. So I definitely can see that, obviously he's struggling, he having a problem. And I get that they were arguing and he was blaming Zach, but it was times when Zach was saying like, oh, you still gonna just go get high, or you still gonna just sit there, look at him, he can't even wait. It's like, that he's an addict, and that he can't really just turn it off like that. So, and for you to say just admit it, and I was kind of thinking like, Zach, there's plenty of things that you don't admit, and you don't have a drug problem, but at the same time we in the heat of the argument. So it's like, I get that part that y'all gonna just call out each other, and y'all gonna say, see who could say the worst thing to each other and all of that different kind of stuff. Of course, he ends up going and beating the crap out of him. I'm like, Lord, what's up, Brillo?
What up, Brillo? But yeah, no, real talk. At the end of the day, they both have their vices, and Jeremiah's vice is an addiction to drugs, which does give him a more of a connection to his mom, only because of that. Because, like I said, they feed off of each other. They're very codependent upon each other. But Zach shows up in other things, the way that he, I call it a sex addiction, but the way that he has his own addiction. You know what I'm saying? He also is a sabotager. He wants to sabotage things. He doesn't feel like he deserves certain things. Like, there are a lot of things that are wrong with them because of everything that happened to them, but they just show up in different ways at the end of the day,
Yeah, so definitely. I agree with that, because and even when Zach tells the stories, it's like, yeah, but y'all left me and I would be at home by myself and I wouldn't have food, or, whatever different things. Like, yeah, y'all was helping me to go out there to get the money because you felt like I wasn't going to get in trouble or have to go to jail or do the time that you would have to do. So I was okay to use for that, but then y'all would leave me behind. So it's also an issue with, obviously, the mom having a different type of relationship with Jeremiah versus Zach, and, the whole nobody want him thing. And we don't know why she's that way. Obviously, I said it before, her childhood had to be out of this world, just the way she talks to him and looks at him. So it's all the way back to when they was kids, and neither one of them asked, to be here. Now, of course, as grown men, they got to make their own choices. But yeah, what up, VK?
Hey there, KJ. Let's see. URL said Jeremiah may have been high, but he was right about Zach always being in drama. Zach stay in the drama.
Yeah, he definitely do be in drama.
He is the drama. Shari says that Jeremiah has always been with mom. Zach did spend time in foster care and with his grandfather. Jeremiah has always been with the mom.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's what I was just saying. There's even times when he said he was by himself. He's been in foster care. He's been with his granddad, and for some reason Jeremiah was the one that she just took with her. So, and I know people, a person that kind of had a similar situation like that. I don't know why they picked the one child over the other, but I don't know that Zach would have been better off if he would have been following them wherever they was going either. You know what I mean? Exactly. It's like bad versus worse.
Exactly. Because I was kind of thinking about that same thing, not to cross up shows, but it is a good example to bring in. But when we were talking about Force and when we were talking about Kate, at the end of the day, it's horrible that, she left her child, but what was the alternative? What does JP look like being raised by Kate? You know what I'm saying? So
right.
Sometimes, things happen for a reason, and this might have been the better alternative for Zach, even though he was still felt abandoned. But at the same time, being with them all the time, we don't know what his life could have ended up like. It could have been that one moment where they have him do something, and this be the last moment that he do something. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just could have been such a different outcome.
Yeah.
So, you never know.
Right.
Let's go see what they got to say about these comments. She has to hate Zach's daddy and takes it out on him. I don't think she knows who Zach's dad is.
Yeah, I'm not sure she knows who it is, but that could be one aspect. Remember, one of the episodes, she claimed that she took him to his daddy, and his daddy was like, I don't want him, don't bring him here. But Zach was like, that was one of your picks. So, we really don't know. That's the whole thing.
Exactly. Monique 69 Ways says it's always the oldest child getting picked, seen it before as well. Yeah, I've definitely seen a situation like that. I'm rooting for Kate to say so, but I know me too. Neither of the men are accountable. Absolutely not, Shari. Nobody's being accountable. Like they're just looking at each other and blaming each other for what's going on in each other's life. But because Jeremiah is jealous of Zach, and whether Zach wants to admit it, he's jealous of Jeremiah. He's jealous that the mom.
Yeah, and Connie even gave him a reality check on that. At one point, she says to him, like, look at where you are and what your life is, even with all your troubles you have, and look at where your mom is and where your brother's at, you know, and they are just kind of pointing fingers at each other. I always saying, my grandmother used to say, you one finger pointing forward, three pointing back, right? So it's like you talking about all the bad things, and there are some bad things, but you also have things that you have to be, you know, thankful for. And I was glad that she was bringing that up to Zach, because he was getting into that state. And I get it, we human. I've even been in that space myself too, where it started being like, woe is me, my life is always bad. What can I expect? Things always go wrong. Ain't nothing gonna go right anyway, so why should I care? And you know, she kind of was like, cut that out. Yeah. Look at what you have. Look what you accomplished. Yeah.
Exactly. Because he's accomplished more than what someone who was in his situation might have accomplished. You know, you should be, yes, you have some issues. Yes, you have some trouble. Yes, a lot of this is tied to your childhood trauma. But at the end of the day, you have to be accountable for the things that you do. And be grateful for the things that you have, and that you're not in Jeremiah's situation. Because guess what? Jeremiah is an addict who they, you know, and there's nothing wrong. And I don't want nobody to take this wrong. There's nothing wrong with nobody to stay in the hood. But he has gotten himself out of the hood into a much better position, but they're still there. So why are you like just kicking yourself so much when you literally are in a much better space, in a better place? You just got to get mentally there and get some of this weight off of you and get some of this trauma off of you. And we need to see Zach back in therapy.
Damn. Absolutely. Seriously, especially after this whole event, that therapist should have been on the line. Because even what we had last week, I'm sorry.
No, I was just reading the thing. She says Zatima's stepdad is Zach daddy. They look alike.
Lord, that would be a twist. Yeah, I was just about to say that even last week's episode, I was like, so we don't have another therapy session? Like, we haven't seen Zach back in therapy since that first one, which was an intense one where you know, having the discussion with Fatima, you're having the discussion with your mom and your brother and all of that, and we didn't see it since. So after this, I definitely think he needs to be sitting down with the therapist, like, immediately.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So let's talk about Connie. Connie showed us a little bit something different in this particular episode. We get over here, we got Connie and Deja. I always wondered if these two would run into each other and how it would be. And I ain't gonna lie, it was exactly what I thought it would be like. So, you know, Deja's doing her thing, talking her noise. She done got caught up. For one thing, she done got caught up. So let me go back for a second. Tima decides that she's gonna go see Zach after Angela and her her activities that she had going on, shall we say. So she says she's gonna go see Zach. I do wonder what that would have looked like if Zach wasn't going through what he was going through. I do wonder what that conversation, what this was supposed to be. But instead, she sees Deja because she's almost about to change her mind. She sees Deja. She decides to take a video and she catches her and she's like, boom, I got you. Like, now drop the lawsuit. But then Connie walks out of the house and then, you know, immediately things get a little tense, but Connie keeps it real with her, all the way real with her, and tells her the truth. What did you think about this conversation that Connie has had with her? And she had several, and you can talk about any of them because she had several of them.
Yeah, I actually like this whole moment. Of course, Deja gonna be Deja regardless. It was kind of funny to me that when Fatima first came out, of course, she, you know, was catching her with the pictures like, yeah, you good, you ain't got that brace on, and you're bringing home, you know, one of your Johns or whoever the heck he was. But then she flipped it back on her like, girl, you don't need to be worried about me, you need to be worried about your man. And she done got pictures of him and Con. I was like, she get pictures that fast? And then she took them out. They was hugged up together. But I was like, they wasn't never no daggone hugged up. She literally got out the car. I mean, he got out the car. Your mom is in the hospital and they drove off. So I'm like, what are you talking about? But of course, that kind of shut Fatima up for just a minute because she wasn't really expecting her to have it. And then to have Connie come walking out the place, it was like, I know you freaking lying. But I did like how she addressed her, and I like that no matter how much Fatima was kind of bringing the heat, we'll just say that, Connie was keeping herself kind of composed. She was like, listen, I ain't come here for all of that. I was supposed to come here, turn the alarm off, but I don't know where the alarm was at. I thought that was funny too. She talking about the toy he got upstairs and everything else. I said, Connie, you just say you was in there being nosy because the damn alarm wouldn't be upstairs. But
Okay.
she was just, of course, able to tell her what was going on and that he was at the hospital and that she needs to be there. And she wasn't really coming back at Fatima, but she still was being stern and straight to the point. And I like that. And then I even liked how she told Deja, like, girl, get out of here. Both of us about to kick your behind in a minute. And Deja was talking about suing her. And of course, when we hear about, I got 3 kids at home, Section 8, what you gonna sue me for? So I was like, oh, Connie got 3 kids? Okay. But yeah, I just like this whole little thing, this part right here, more than I thought I would. I thought we was just going to have, another one of those type of arguments and with Fatima saying, I'm going to kick your behind or something, but it wasn't. She pretty much was just like, okay, thank you, bye, I got it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, seriously though, I was feeling Connie this go around. I was like, okay, I see you. And it was interesting to find out that Connie actually had 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the stuff don't really matter, but
Right.
I bring up the 3 kids because when she said that, I was like, so Zach, you about to throw your relationship away for this for you? She got
right. I doubt very much he want a relationship with Connie and she got 3. I'm just saying, I doubt it.
I was like, is that what we was about to do? I was like, okay, this had to be. I was like, yeah, you kidding me about this. So, but
he already got his own kid problems.
Okay, that's what I was like. I was like, dude, you got one that we know of for sure, and maybe a possibility. Come on now,
right?
Is the deal. Yeah. Let's go to some of these comments, Mika. Let's see what we got. Fatima needs to take her ass back to therapy as well. And you also said that he definitely needs to go back to therapy. Yeah, they both need to be back in therapy. At this point, they both need some. They really do.
But yeah, that part was funny.
Deja is she was talking about. Yeah, she did say that. I think she got your blouse.
Yeah,
she has
cracking up at that.
I love Deja, y'all. Deja be tripping me out. Like, I just love when she come into the scene because you're finna get some comedy relief. I had no idea that Jasmine Brown was a real comedian, and that's why her comedic things are just so on point. I didn't know that she was. Deja was vintage. Yes, vintage Deja. I love Connie in this episode, but when a parent is on drugs, there's nothing anybody can say. If the parents don't want to help, I know from the experience. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, that goes for anybody. Anybody that has an alcohol or drug addiction, you could want it for them, to infinity and beyond. But unless they want the help for themselves, and it's a process, and sometimes they may stop for a minute, backslide back into it. They may stop for good. We just never know what the circumstances is, but it's up to that person. No matter how much you want it. So that's just a reality. But I did feel like Connie came with grown woman energy this episode. Still a little bit ghetto in there. You can take the hood out of take the girl out the hood, not the hood out the girl. But it was more grown woman status to me.
Yeah, Monique said that Connie looked good after 3 kids. Yes, she did. I didn't know she had no kids. I was like, okay,
for real.
All right, so let's see where we're gonna go next. All right, so we talked about that. All right, let's talk about this right here for a second. Let's talk about this Joker. Okay, so first and foremost, there's a scene where where Angela is talking to Fatima there at the office. Bryce is gonna come into the office. Let me get this out the way real quick. Bryce, why it's a big city? Why is you just picking people that's right in this thing? I understand you met her online, and maybe it's a small set of people that into what
you know it's small. Everybody be everywhere with everybody. We can't go nowhere that we don't know somebody else.
Like, dude, like once you knew she worked in this office building, you probably should have been like, you know what, girl, never mind. We gonna meet somewhere else.
Right.
Office building. And then the fact that Angela has the audacity, because I do call it audacity, to come out and question him about it. I'm like, girl, you don't even want him.
Exactly. Hey, Moochie.
Hey, Moochie. Hope you start to feel better, sweetie. But Bryce will say this one thing that really was on point. He but it also had stalker syndrome to it. But I don't think he was talking about. He was talking about that time, the one time that he saw her when the guy came over, and
that's what I think.
That's what I think it was. But he was on point with that. Like, he may be into some freaky stuff, but you just be bringing home strangers. What's the difference? At this point, I don't know. What you think about
that? Neither one of them have the right to be questioning or asking or making comments on each other. I thought it was kind of funny when, Fatima first pointed out that he was even out there, and I forget the comment that Angela said, but that was funny. She was like, I think, what was the material? Like, girl, pick a struggle because it was short, and like pick which season you in. But the fact that she was even jealous and Fatima said something to the effect like, oh, these dudes, they really be having a lot of nerve. And I'm like, well, what's the nerve? They're not together. She don't want nothing to do with him. She's already made that clear. Yes, it's awkward. And it's like, really, did it have to be somebody that's in this office? But, it was also funny that he was like, well, I thought you worked upstairs. And she's like, yeah, but I still know everybody in the whole building, oh, so who are you here for? And then, he tells her the name and it's like, oh, the one that's a, paralegal or whatever she was. And it's like, yeah. And then she's like, oh, introduce her. So obviously you don't know her. You know of her. You may have seen her in passing, but it was just funny to me that she was being jealous. And it was like, oh, she into kinky stuff too. Like she needed to verify whether she knew what he was into. And he's like, yeah, I've literally found her on a site where, that's what we are all into. So she's like, oh, she freaky. I was like, why do you care? It was just too much with that whole part. I was like, seriously, why are we having this conversation right now? And then when she was like, you're going to introduce me. And he was like, no, I'm not. I was actually proud of Dad going Bryce for a second. I was like, yeah, the heck I got to introduce you for? Like, she was like, ow.
You know what was funny about this to me was that I thought they was trying to be friends. I was proud of Bryce on one thing, but also at the same time, I was like, Bryce, you got a lot of energy right now. Like,
yes.
the way you coming in hot. Like,
yeah, he was getting a little cute.
Exactly. I was like, you coming in a little hot. This ain't like the Bryce we've been seeing. You know what I'm saying?
But he do give off like a passive aggressive energy sometimes too. So I don't know. True. Bryce is.
That is true. Ugh. Let's see what they got to say in the comments. Moochie. Okay, let's see. URL says, and the actor who plays Sam trips me out. I can't get past him being Dr. Dre and Miss Chalet biopic. He had his voice down. Man, I ain't seen that in a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Corn a phrase about Angela constantly saying she doesn't want Bryce. It would be from Shakespeare's Hamlet. The lady does protest. Okay. And do. Let's see. No comment site. Both are simple. Monique's so silly. Both are simple. Angela always in Fatima office. Where is her office? I never see her do work. Girl, ever.
Right. We always to see Fatima office or the parking lot, maybe.
Her office is supposed to be upstairs. Okay. Exactly where it's supposed to be, but she never there for whatever reason. Let's see. These three women had me laughing. Yeah, they be doing too much. Now, y'all, I'm just gonna state the obvious. Why they didn't get this girl no speaking line? They couldn't let her say one word.
They had her like she was just a mute, like just there to look at. Like seriously, she couldn't even say bye.
Okay,
I had a nice time.
I was like, I looked at this twice, and I was like, did she not say nothing? I said, dang, you was like an extra in the main scene, but you was extra in the mains. I said, that's messed up. You could have at least gave her bye. See you later. Talk to you later. Like,
yeah, I agree. He was like saying, I'm gonna call you or something. And when it was time for her to leave, and I was like, well, damn, they didn't even let her say nothing. She just had like a funny look and walked away. I was like,
exactly.
Okay.
She mouthed something, but no words came out. And I'm just like, dang, no words at all. I know that was a lot to harp on, but it irked me for like a second. I was like, really? That's what we doing? But let's talk about the even more bigger of the elephant, because there's two more elephants going on. So after we get through this, right, we get to the restaurant, she leaves as we, just talked about. And then all of a sudden, Bryce's card declines, right? So that's one thing. But what's even more funny is look who his waitress is, or waiter is. I'm sorry, I said waitress. Look who his waiter is. And the energy between them, oh my gosh. Bryce even had like, I think Angela and Bryce to either be together or not. They need to figure this shit out, because these two, the way he was like, don't I know you? And it's like you said, Bryce has this thing that he does. Oh, it's so irritating. But what you think about how Sam acted? Because I feel like Sam was doing the most, to be honest.
Yeah, this was weird to me. It was weird. Bryce was weird, and Sam was weird as well. And of course, I want to know what the heck is going on while all these cars are getting declined. But nonetheless, just the fact that it was like, okay, yeah, I need this table, and you got another card, and Bryce saying, well, I know you, and he's like, no, you don't. And it's like Angela, and it's like, I don't know her. Why did you say you didn't know her? I mean, technically, it's not Bryce's business. Again, I said they need to stop asking about each other's things, but it was like, what was your purpose? Purpose of lying and saying you didn't know her? It was just very weird to me. Very weird and random. And then, of course, it's just like, oh, well, go stand over here on the side. No, I don't trust you to sit by the bar or, go by the stairs because you might run out. I was just like, huh? When he was saying that he was
sitting, it was like you were trying to demasculate him in a way. And I was like, what was the point, Sam? Like, what was the point? Y'all not even together. Y'all just, doing what y'all do. It was no point to it. It had no rhyme. I just didn't understand that. But girl, I cannot wait to find out what is going on with this money. Because I think that Bryce did something, y'all. If y'all think that Bryce did something, please put it in the chat. I'll put any emoji you got. I can't think of one right now. Put some crying face emojis.
Originally, I was thinking that he did do something, but I don't know. He just seemed to be so dumbfounded. And then it's like all the cards that's connected to the business, but then I don't know if he didn't have another separate card that was just his own card, because we seen that they tried two cards. And remember that, because I even forgot about that for a minute. Bryce, initially, when he first stepped up to, Zach with all these different ideas and them going into business together, he's still supposed to have the whole separate job that he has with Gary and was supposedly doing good, and a lot of the things was like 50-50, or either he was putting the bigger part and Zach was putting the rest. So I'm just confused as to how he's all of a sudden dead broke now. He needs to call and wait for somebody to come down and pay for his check for him. I don't know. The whole thing is confusing, but hopefully they're gonna clear it all up and break it down. And of course, he's mad nervous now, and he's trying to get in touch with Zach, and that's when he calls Fatima and all of that. Because Zach, we already know he gonna be pissed as hell, and it's like he already dealing with the situation with his mom, and then to have to get a call about this. But it's like, how did the money get frozen? Why did it get frozen? Is this something with that investigation coming up again? I doubt that. Or did Bryce just really make like a really dumb mistake with something.
That's
I
what I
don't
think
know.
it is. I think that Bryce has done something that Zach doesn't know about, and I don't think it's
Mhm.
intentional. Here's my thing: is that I don't think it's intentional. I just
Mhm.
think that he's done something that has come back to bite them in the derriere. But I don't think it was
Mhm.
on purpose. I think he made some. You see how he's been
Mhm.
pushing Zach into this property, like he really trying to.
Right.
I think he's done something else, but just without Zach's knowing, without his
Mhm.
knowledge of it.
It
That's
could
what
be
I
a
think.
possibility because Bryce be acting like he a little slow too. So I
And,
don't know.
but
But
you
he
got some good
definitely
points
did
about the
not
other
see
stuff.
it wasn't something where it seemed like, oh, let me call this one or that one. Like he really seemed like he was clueless about what it could be. So I'm
Yeah.
like, I don't know, but Zach definitely gonna be heated, and he just finished telling him no, and that he didn't trust his judgment. So for something like this to happen, if Bryce thought he was mad about the kids, he ain't seen nothing yet. Like this
Oh, he
is
finna
only
go off.
gonna,
You got my money
yeah,
tied up. But here's my
mm-hmm,
thing. This has to be something major for all of their cards to be, because this sounds
right,
like all of their accounts are frozen.
mm-hmm,
And like you said, it can't just be their business accounts. It has to be their
mm-hmm,
personal accounts and
right,
all of that. Because I guarantee you, I cannot see it. Well, I'm just thinking it's just regular schmegula, like just
right,
real life. There's no way that I'm going to have my $1.5 million all in my business. Like, I'm not going to
yeah,
have all of it there. So I definitely
right,
don't think that that's the case. I think that all of their accounts are frozen. And
mm-hmm,
let me see. Somebody said something. Let me go find it. Sorry, I think here we
mm-hmm,
go. I think the issue is with the brokers that Bryce went to for the money for the property. See, I'm thinking that it's something along those lines too. Like it's just
mm-hmm,
some kind of business deal that has
mm-hmm,
jacked them up, that, Bryce be thinking he be making these good decisions and he don't
right,
necessarily
mm-hmm.
know. And I don't think Zach know about it. I think she put
Yeah,
it
I
on
could see
hold
that.
with more evidence. Okay, somebody's saying that they think that it's the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Don't think it's the investigation, but it could be. But I don't think so. But it could be.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
Yeah, that seems like kind of random, but I wouldn't completely rule it out either. 'Cause,
Yeah. Uh, he's orange frowning. He done something to make them freeze. Okay, Ponzi scheme. Okay, definitely could be. Who knows? Then Zach was smart not to trust Bryce's judgment.
Absolutely. If he could make a mistake like that, come
Bryce
on.
did something. Yeah, and the only crazy part about it is that he don't trust his judgment for other reasons, but
Right.
he should be not trusting his judgment for some
Mm-hmm.
other stuff. Because remember, you brought this up last week or the week before last. You were like, there was a time when Zach, when Bryce was the person that he went to for business advice. It was
Yeah.
the kisses when everything got
Mm-hmm.
weird.
Right. So it just was like kind of out of place when he was like, oh no, I don't trust your judgment with these things, because everything that Bryce really told him about up to now as far as business actually turned out to be good things. If anything, what messed up their relationship was the fact that he tried to damn kiss him. So it was like, why did they throw that in there? And now we got this situation going on. So I don't know where we about to go with this.
I don't think so, Renee. I don't think Paul got nothing to do with it.
Oh, I
Valor
hope
could.
not. You saying Valerie and Paul trying to get over? I hope we ain't doing that.
Yeah, I would hate for them to write that story like that. We need to
Yeah.
let Paul just stay where he is. Because at the
Hmm.
end of the day, there's some good people out there, and I just want Paul's character to remain like it is. Stop making him so damn thirsty, but just let him stay intact and not let there be some, like, why we gotta make, like, I don't want them to do that. I hope they don't do that. I hope they don't do that. Please don't do that. If it's the SEC investigation, why freeze? Right, that is a good point,
Yeah,
because if it's
that's
the
true.
SEC,
That's
why freeze his
true.
personal account?
Yeah. I'm
Yeah,
curious to what they gonna say the reasoning is behind it.
yeah, I really want to know. That is like, I want to know about Mama Gladys too, a little bit, but I want to know more about this.
Right.
But it just is what it is. My niece says, I hope Paul is not a grifter. Let's hope not. Hold on, we had another comment. Oh, here it is. I find it interesting that Paul didn't tell Fatima he gave Zach advice, and he didn't tell her because it wasn't his place. I don't think that really is a conversation that he needs to have. They already touchy right now because Fatima already feels like he believes that she's just using him, and then they're
I mean,
trying.
he did tell her that he saw her, but he didn't tell her the conversation. And I agree,
Yeah.
she wouldn't have wanted him to say anything on her behalf. It was kind of like, oh, where you saw him at. But at the end of the day, it was one of those man-to-man conversations. He just felt for whatever reason that he wanted to say it to him. So
Yeah, and then
but
he
I
does
don't think he
say,
would have, like, that wasn't something he was about to tell her in the midst of them already kind of going
yeah.
back and forth.
It was a little awkward to tell him there then, but he did say, she said, how did it go? Because he does say that they saw each other, and he's like, how you expected, and then she
Right.
said, and so I
Yeah.
think that was enough said right there. I don't think there needed to be a deeper conversation than that.
Yeah.
Leave Paul alone. Okay. Yeah, leave Paul alone. Let Paul stay good. We don't want them to mess him up. Okay, y'all.
And another part that made me laugh, I just came back to me with Paul with the conversation in the beginning. Oh, well, I got a couple of friends, and I have one friend in particular. I actually called her your name. Every time I look at them, I see your face. I'm like, really? Really? That just popped back in my head.
Yeah, that part right there was a little cringy. I was like, stop. Just stop. I was like, stop. I said, this is my boy right now. Stop. Don't do him like that. Just let it go. Just let him be smooth with it. Like,
right.
You have to do all that extra. Okay, y'all. So now we're about to talk about this heifer right here. Oh, Jesus.
I forgot about this.
So Paul knows how to read his audience. Absolutely, Shar. So, okay, first and foremost. Okay, so oh God. Okay. I'm trying to figure out where I'm starting with her. She get on my nerves. Like, she irritates my nerves. But I'm gonna start with the first conversation. She goes over to no, Nate's at her place. I'm sorry. Nate's at her place. She comes in, and I guess she had called him earlier or something like that. And now he's there, and they're talking, and they going back and forth. And Nate actually, listen, this is gonna be the one and only time I probably say something good about Nate. But Nate said the right stuff in the right moment. He basically told her that you need to let this go. And then we also come to the revelation that Belinda actually does like Zach. Like, this is the reason why she's acting like this. It's finally, if you didn't already figure it out, you 100% knew in this moment that she really actually likes Zach instead of the opposite. Because all she kept saying was, he's a whore. Bitch, you a whore. I mean, sorry, my bad. Bring that back. But it's like the pot calling the kettle black. So that can't be the reasoning. Tell me what you think about it, because I have no words for this.
I honestly forgot about this because I haven't watched it. I do a rewatch right before we do this review. And when you said who annoyed me, who pissed me off, who aggravated my spirit, I forgot about damn Belinda. Oh, I can't stand this lady. But yeah, she does like Zach. She wants Zach. She's jealous of Fatima's relationship. That's typically the way that it goes in a lot of cases, maybe not all. The person really wants the person, and that person doesn't want them back in the same way. So we're going to argue with them. We're going to start drama around them. We're going to accuse them of things and everything else under the sun. But in all reality, is really we want to be with them. So it was just kind of like a confirmation as far as that part goes. Even Nate saw it himself, but he still ain't mine, being like, oh, can I get some? But I did appreciate him for like 2 seconds. I think Nate recently has been having like 2 seconds per episode where he make a little bit of sense, and he's calling her out a little bit. He did it with Deja too, trying to talk her out of, doing the lawsuit thing. And it's like, nah, that's my boy, and you're not gonna do that. And he even was like, well, why are you going so hard? What's your problem with them? Why you don't want them together so much? And she's like, oh, well, you wasn't supposed to want them together either. But it's like, yeah, but I'm not gonna go to that degree that I'm gonna purposely hurt my friend and lie to him, or lie on him, just because I don't want them. Like, you're going to another level that I don't want to go to, basically, is what he was telling her. And you know, she was getting mad at that. And I was just like, ew, she just like annoyed me even more. And then it's like, oh, get out of my house. I don't need you to be here no more. But of course, you know, she's still talking about something. Well, one last time, I don't mind. Type of thing. But he's like, Zach, it's really that you just want Zach and you can't have him. He don't want you. He was like, shoot, he didn't even go for Connie. If he didn't go for her, I know he ain't gonna go for you. She's like, well, I don't know, Connie. He said, oh, she the best. That part made me laugh too. But
It was funny.
yeah, it's like he don't want you, girl. Give it up, turn it loose. Jesus.
Okay, let's go see what the chat got to say. So Robin Giles says that Paul seems to, yeah, he was acting thirsty. He was acting
yeah, I said that in the beginning.
When Nate is the voice of reason, you know you're wrong. Absolutely.
Exactly.
I can't wait for Belinda to trip and fall on her non-accountability and sit down somewhere, please. Absolutely. Is it possible that during their friendship that boys/men Belinda have always gone for Fatima? Possibly. Absolutely. And then she actually got with this one first.
Right.
It turns out that he's actually in love with that's crazy. Zach must be laying it down because Belinda bird ass going crazy. Absolutely. Well, we know that Zach is like it's like an anaconda out here.
Right.
According to the streets. Belinda is a whore. She needs to leave Zach alone. I think he in gambling debt. Oh, you talking about Bryce? Is that who you talking about?
I think so.
Oh, excuse me. Can you read that one for me?
I don't ever want a man with that sex game that Zach has. He got all these women going batshit crazy.
Okay.
Listen.
Okay. I think we leave that one alone.
Right.
Belinda is extremely promiscuous. Zach had better keep his distance. Belinda is the true thirsty one. Zach.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I don't think that nothing to do with that thing. And especially now that she's messing with Nate, I don't think he'll ever go back down that road. But she that type that will try to, well, she's already done it. That, you know, that you'll try to pin something on him that's not really him. And
like, nah, you doing too much. And doing that to somebody that's supposed to be your so-called friend.
Somebody that you're supposed to love. I'm so sick being thrown around like it, like what does that really even mean? But I do want to talk about a couple of things. I never saw Bryce gamble unless I missed something. Okay, so I do want to talk about a couple of things. So first and foremost, Belinda's gonna take her trash self over to the hospital. Unnecessary at all. Didn't make any sense. Zach doesn't.
No, it didn't.
Already established that made no sense to me. I get that Nate was just trying to get a ride, but when we was downstairs after you dropped me off, I would have absolutely made sure that you never came up. Like my friend never had that type of, like, you wouldn't have never came up at all. Period. So
I agree.
And then there's the fact that then there's the fact after this happens, there's going to be a moment where Tony's already there, being there for his friend, but Nate is trying to be there for him, but Zach is not trying to hear it. And for whatever reason, you know, we can hate Nate all we want to because Nate do be doing the most, but he does really, unlike Belinda, he does have a true, he does really care about Zach, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's just he has these weird ways of showing it's not malicious like Belinda, you know, where it's fake. His is real, but it's just, I don't know how to say it. But do you get where I'm going with it?
Yeah, I really felt like Belinda needed to get her behind out of there. She had no business being there in the first place. I also gotta say kudos to Tony in this episode because he was there with Zach, and no matter how many times Zach was like, I'm good, I don't need nobody, I'm all right, he was still like, no, you're not all right, I'm here, I'm your brother, I got your back. There was times when he looked like he was ready to get in Jeremiah behind because he was trying to kind of keep it cool with both of them, and then it was like, yo, you bugging out, okay, bring it down a notch. And he had to check Nate too, and he was telling Belinda to get her raggedy behind up out of here. So, you know, as far as all of that, I got it. And, you know, then it was like, because he had already told Connie, no, he's not going to want to see Nate. I think maybe he should have just followed his first instincts and let them kind of, you know, see what was happening with Mama, gave it a little bit more time before he called him. And then he even had to call him out and say, well, you didn't have to get a ride from her. You could have did a ride share. You could have told me or whatever to, send a ride for you or come get you, anything but bring her here. Like, what this girl is about. And for her to sit there and be like, oh, I was concerned. And where's Fatima? Why is she not here? I was like, seriously, girl, like, we didn't really need any of that part, in my opinion. That definitely irritated me too. And I could have seen where Nate may have just, said, well, I'm not leaving, but I'm going to walk over here on the side and wait until when you're ready. And if you need me, I'm here. Right. But we didn't need Belinda at all.
Yeah. And I did like how Nate, goes and stands to the side, but I would have had to drug old girl out. Like, seriously,
Yeah.
like, girl, you got to go. We got to call security. Something got to happen. But then our girl walks in, Fatima walks in, and she finally decides to go and see him, because throughout these entire 2 episodes, or well, not 2 episodes, throughout the entire last episode, there was this struggle about, was I or wasn't I going to go see him? Now, I'll go ahead and tell you my take on it, then I'd love to hear your take. So my take on it was, I understood where Fatima was coming from in the moments why she didn't want to go up there. It has to be extremely painful and hurtful to go and be there for somebody and for them to turn you away and for them to talk to you the way that Zach talked to her and the way he embraced Connie. I understand that probably was very hurtful to her, and she didn't want to go and have the same thing happen again. She didn't want to go put herself in that position, because I feel like if she did and he did do that again, she would there would be no Zach and Fatima anymore. And I think she didn't want to even give that a chance or a possibility. So she was willing to not put herself out there, because she does want to be with Zach when it's all said and done. But I guarantee you, if Zach did that again, there would be no more of them. So that was one way that I looked at it. But I knew that she had to go, because if you love somebody, if you care about somebody, no matter what, you're going to have to go. At the end of the day, you're going to have to go. And if that happened, it happened, and you would know what it was and what it wasn't. But, so I was happy that she went when it was all said and done. And I'm always here for her, giving Belinda a piece of her mind. I just want them to scrap one time and then be done with it. But go ahead and give me your take on it.
Yeah, I agree. I was happy when Fatima finally showed up there, and she was the only one that was able to get Belinda up out of there. Like, girl, if you don't get out of here, you're going to end up in one of these, hospital beds. You're in the right place right now for it. Like, what are you worried about, checking up on him at and wondering where I'm at? Like, don't wonder where I'm at. You don't need, that's not your problem no more. And I felt like Angela pretty much told her some similar to what you just was saying. Like, I get why you feel that way. Definitely warranted. And I know you don't want to go through that again and all of that, but if something does happen, you would feel bad that you're not there. Like, somebody you care about, like you saying, you hear that they're in a situation like this. You take your behind there and you go, and you be there with him. He really needs you right now. You don't know if she's gonna make it, being as though we're talking about her OD. And of course, even the conversation with Connie calling her again, I was like, well, damn, Connie, you still in this car? Okay. And her getting on her, and Angela just being like, she right, you need to be there. The flip side of that is, I was on one hand glad that she was there with him, but on the other hand, I didn't want us to be getting back together just because we have this situation going on. We still got work to do. So yes, I'm here for you with this situation to give you support. And, I did appreciate that she was like, listen, if you don't want me here, I could go. I just came because I heard what happened. And he was like, no, please don't go. Okay, I need you to stay with me. And she was like, I promise I'm here. So I was like, oh, Lord, are we back together again just because of this situation? Because that means that we still really didn't fix the issues. So I was not completely happy with that. But I was, glad that he had somebody there that he could lean on. Child, because it's a hot mess. No.
Absolutely. Monique says, I would love to see that fight. I got $100.
Yes.
Me too.
Yes.
Okay. And then Connie said she was running all her errands.
Right.
Like, it's a nice car. Shoot, I would have been running all my errands too. I was like, he ain't gonna need it right now. I'm
right.
I got to do. I'm about to floss in this thing. But yeah, at
Right.
the end of the day, when it's all said and done, you're absolutely right. I really hope that this is not them putting them back together right now. I think there's still a lot of healing and a lot of things that has to happen before they get back together.
Yes.
And the way that they have presented this character in this particular show, in Zatima, I don't see Fatima getting back with him just yet. I really feel like she's a person who stands by what she says. And I feel like she's there for him in this moment, but that she's not going to go back until she knows that there's a true change, like, until she knows that they can move forward. So I don't really see her doing that, but you never know. But I just from what we saw of her and what we've learned of her, and this just me knowing her from this show, I don't think so, but I hope not, child, because not the right timing. It's just not the right time. This is not the reasoning why you do it, because then we have there's still no, like Shari was saying earlier, there's still no accountability for any, and there has to be some accountability. You did this for a reason. You said that you needed him to see, that you needed to show him. And just because a traumatic thing happens doesn't mean, now we gonna get right back together, because then the no issues have been resolved. He still needs to be in therapy. Y'all probably need to do therapy together at some point. There's a lot of things that need to happen in order, if they want a fully functioning relationship to actually work, especially being that they're engaged. And then you got all this other stuff we're talking about. You already got one baby mama for sure, and another possible baby mama. Like, drama to add into a relationship. So I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know. But anywho, that's the end of the episode. At the very end, the doctor comes in and she says, what was her exact words?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And then kind of y'all know that this could be I'm sorry, anything. I think Mama Gladys is gonna be in a coma. I don't know if she's gonna be out of there though. You think she's gonna be out of there?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. I think for now it may just be with a coma. We on pins and needles. It's touch and go. It's not looking good, because they was mentioning, I think, somewhere near when the doctor came out and talked to her the first time, that we didn't know how long she was out of it versus when she got there and was able to start getting whatever care and treatment. So, this is going to be a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think we only got 2 more episodes of this one. We got episodes 19 and 20. So I don't know how they're going to leave us on a cliffhanger, if we're even going to find out, or if it's going to, if they're going to tell us or not. So I guess we shall see. But anywho, this has been fun. This was a really good episode to talk about. It just goes to show that you don't have to have a lot of stuff going on to have a lot of stuff going on in a episode. That's how this one was to me. We'll go back to the chat real quick and see what we got. Okay, so we already said that one. I agree. She mad because Zach chose Fatima over her. And Monique, I've got $1,000 on Fatima. Okay. This is making me see why Fatima has been hot and cold in season 6. She hasn't been the Fatima we've come to know this season of Sisters. URL, I don't know if you know, but your girl actually doesn't look at Sisters, but my girl looks at Sisters, so she knows. I haven't looked.
To be honest, I've been saying this about Tyler Perry and his characters. A lot of the characters in general, in my opinion, are not the same as how we started. Like, even when you look at the original Sisters seasons, maybe 1 through 3, are not the Sisters that we have 4, 5, and 6. They all kind of have had character changes. So yeah, I do see a change in Fatima, and I feel like I can definitely understand why. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how we gonna keep going forward, because child, it's a mess, and that's about to come back soon too in October, and that's ahead of this. So technically, they already got past everything that we see now in Sisters. So
they're back together in the thing. Yeah, I saw that. All right. So Monique 69 Ways says, I'm gonna need Mama Gone to Glory. Maybe it will bring Zach and his brother closer. Maybe so. Gladys will have a long recovery, both physically and psychologically, if she survives. Absolutely. Hopefully she'll be willing to put in the work and do what she needs to do in order to make the changes that she needs to make That's so true because I like Karen in the beginning.
Yeah, I did too. The way I go in and on her now, she actually was one of my faves in the beginning. I've always liked Danny. I always thought Danny and Fatima could really get down and be great friends. I was kind of indifferent when it came to Andy and Sabrina, but I had times when I enjoyed them, and they all would have their little mess. But now I'm just like, I don't know where y'all going. Okay, do you know where you're going to?
Okay,
But I
child.
still be watching.
I'll just keep listening to your reviews and the reviews I listen to and get bits and pieces of it. I just can't look at the whole thing. It
And
just feels like it's draining.
you see how Fatima threw Madam name out there to Deja, like, I'm gonna have to bring my cousin back.
Somebody, I can't remember whose page it was on. I really can't, but they were like, there may be a crossover with Fatima coming to the other show. So to All the Queen's Men.
All the
so
Queen's
I thought
Men.
that would be interesting. In theory, technically, they have been to the club, just not with Madam. But in this sense, they're saying that they're supposed to.
Yeah, the sisters have been to the club too, but I don't think it's been with Madam that I can remember off the top of my head. Because then you even had Danny and Fagel had some kind of past where they dated in the past and knew each other or something like that. And I was like, yeah, okay, I see what y'all doing there.
Somebody said, I think we all did. Oh, probably liked all of them in the beginning. Now Karen is entitled to home. And I only tune into Sisters for Zatima, child.
Oh, okay.
You know what's so crazy about it is that I started looking at this show because first of all, it looked like it was going to be a fun show to look at because I look at a lot of BET Plus stuff, and I was like, oh, this looks like it would be cute to look at. I was like, but like, do I have to look at Sisters?
Right.
Because if I do, I don't want to look at. I don't want to look at it. But when I looked at it, I felt like it worked well as its own separate entity.
Yeah, it does.
Feel like I have to know what happened in Sisters in order to really enjoy the show. Sometimes I feel like it's better that I don't know everything. You know, I know some. You know, I know some things, but I don't know everything, and I feel like that's like I don't have I've never gotten into the I like this person. Like I've never gotten into that, and I've learned the Fatima character from Zatima, and I've formed my opinion of that character based off of this show, not based off of Sisters. The same way with Zach, I haven't formulated my opinion based off of him from there. I've formulated based off of here. So I feel like if people do want to look at this show, if you just happen to be on here and you just here, if you do want to look at this show, I highly suggest it because it is only in its infancy. It's only 2 seasons right now, and you can very much watch it without having to know all the details of Sisters.
Yeah.
So
it's true. I went down the rabbit hole recently, and this is a completely different kind of show, but I got into Justified of the show, and you do not have to see the original Justified to be able to understand what's happening in this one. But because I loved it so much, now I done went and started watching that one. But I'm just saying, sometimes they do have those shows that it could be a familiar character, but it's a completely different thing where you don't have to know what happened and all, you know, whatever before. So I agree, you don't have to watch it. But because I was already watching it, I know. And I'll be like, oh, this is a completely different universe, you know, with Zatima, but
exactly. Because like I said, I've listened to your reviews, I've listened to other people's reviews sometimes, and I'm just like, I was like, man, they in a whole nother universe. What she talking about? I don't what in the world is going on? But
absolutely.
You know, but at the end of the day, I like this show. It's going in a good direction for me. They just, you know, they need to. I did hear, aren't we supposed to get some different writers or something? Is it going to be for both shows or just for Sisters?
I don't know if it's for both or one. I believe it was supposed to be Sisters season 7 was supposed to be starting with new writers. Now that we have the writer's strike and all that, I don't know how that holds up, but I'm not too sure if it's all the shows, if it's some shows. Definitely curious, and I'm definitely looking forward to them switching it up and bringing in new writers. I think, you know, we should give some other people a chance to take the reins and bring in more women.
Yes,
that can write
absolutely.
about women. And I'm just saying. Yeah.
Absolutely. Because I think that both shows, to be honest, they seem to have a really big following and people really seem to
Hmm.
be into them. Even sisters, people
Hmm.
that rock with sisters from the beginning,
Absolutely.
especially, are dedicated. Like no matter where
Hmm.
it goes, they still be in it. So
Right.
great show, apparently. So they just need to jazz it up, like mix it up.
Yeah.
Bring in like how they did with Force. You bring in a new writer,
Hmm.
all of a sudden we see these different things, and you're more interested in looking at it. So I think if they did that, we would
Absolutely.
definitely have a little bit of awakening. You may even get some new people. Some people might even try to tackle going back to see what happened just to get
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Maybe not
Hmm.
me, but I'll just ask you.
Hmm.
I'll just ask you and the people in the chat, but
Hmm.
that's about it. But all right, guys. So that is it for Zatima tonight, y'all. This was a good conversation. I'm ready for the next episode. Can't wait to
Hmm.
see what's gonna go down. Tamika, what you got going on your
Yeah.
channel?
I don't really got too much going on. The same as you. I mean, I know we taking a break from our Monday. I mean, Thursday. Child, I'm tired. Thursday night movies. Normally we do a Thursday night movie. Moochie is not feeling well. I hope she drinking her tea and resting her voice. So I think we're pushing that till next Thursday. But I genuinely do like the team of recaps, and then of course we do our live together. I'll do a fourth recap, and we do that live together. The shy, it keeps going like that. And I also do Love After Lockup. That's my guilty pleasure. And I may have a trivia this Saturday. I'm not too sure. I think I'm gonna have a trivia this Saturday and probably like a self-care of what you should be watching the following Saturday. But everything else is just the stuff that we do together and we just keep on going.
Hey, and I'm loving all the things that we do together. It's so fun, like
Yeah.
having a take on it. And I'm pretty much doing the same thing. I have a quick chat about it on my channel, and then we dive into it
Hmm.
in our reviews. So I'm loving it at the end of the day. I'm probably going to start doing a couple of other things. I don't know exactly what they're going to be. I don't know if a lot of you guys know, but I opened up my business, Strictly Opinionated. So I've been working on that a lot lately as well. So if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out. Right now, I have a lot of cups, and I'll probably be adding hats. This is my new hat. I'll probably be adding hats to it, but also if you're someone who's into like making cups and stuff like that, I do a lot of decals, and I'm gonna have a lot of blanks and stuff. So it's a growing thing. So definitely check that out. But other than that, just keep your notifications on, and we're gonna catch y'all on the next one. Until next time, guys.
All
Peace.
right, y'all. What's
Oh,
up,
hold
Bigger
on.
Boy?
I forgot to shout out my chat like I always do. Wait a minute. I always gotta do that. Wait a minute. Let's shout out the chat. Let me see here. We got URL was in the building. Biggerford Entertainment. Robin Giles, Renee was in the building. My girl Shari is always in the building. I think I said Renee was in the building. We have our girl Monique 69 Ways. I love her name. I
Hmm.
just like saying her name. I don't know why.
Yes. And always giving me a good chuckle.
Robin Giles was in the building. Eunice was in the building. Thank you so much for coming through, guys. Daria came through. Brillo came through. VKJ came through. Our girl Muchilla came through to show some love, even though she can't talk. Get well, get well, get well.
Yes.
And I think it was probably some Candy Love came through as always, showing her love. Yeah, so we had a lot of people come through. So thank you guys so much. To all the people who don't say anything, that is perfectly fine. If you just listen to us, we appreciate you and we thank you for coming through, guys. And we're
Hmm.
gonna catch y'all on the next one.
Hey,
Peace.
Tika.
Oh, Tika just came through. Hey, Tika,
Yeah.
you gotta type in hashtag replay and watch the replay, boo. Talk to you later.